Brace! The plane shook violently. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling, swaying wildly. Passengers screamed in terror, their faces pale with fear. We were going down, and there was nothing we could do to stop it. The sound of the engines roared in our ears, and the cabin lights flickered ominously. The air was thick with panic and desperation. I clutched my seat, my knuckles white, praying for a miracle. The last thing I remember was a wall of water rushing towards us, a massive wave that seemed to swallow the plane whole. Then everything went black. The impact was sudden and violent, and I felt a crushing force all around me. I was submerged in darkness, bubbles rising around me as I struggled to breathe. The cold water enveloped me, and I felt myself slipping away. I woke up on a beach, the sun blinding me as I opened my eyes. My head throbbed with pain, and I could feel a warm trickle of blood down my forehead. Where was I? My whole body ached, every muscle protesting as I tried to move. I looked around, disoriented and confused. The beach was littered with debris from the plane crash, pieces of metal and luggage scattered everywhere. Other passengers were scattered on the sand, some lying motionless, others groaning in pain. Some were injured, their clothes torn and bloodied. The scene was chaotic, a stark contrast to the serene beauty of the beach. I could hear cries for help, mingled with the sound of the waves crashing against the shore. Others wandered in a daze, their eyes glazed over, stumbling aimlessly across the sand. They looked lost, their minds struggling to process the horror of what had just happened. Some called out names, searching for loved ones, while others simply stared into the distance, shell-shocked and silent. We were lucky to be alive. Despite the injuries and the chaos, we had survived a plane crash. Relief washed over me as I saw people hugging, tears streaming down their faces. We had been through a nightmare, but we had made it. The realization that we were still breathing, still here, was overwhelming. We were survivors. The island was beautiful. Palm trees swayed in the breeze. Turquoise water sparkled in the sunlight, but we were scared. We were stranded. We had no way to contact help. We had no food or water. We had to rely on each other to survive. Our first challenge was finding water. We were all thirsty. The heat was relentless, and the humidity made it even worse. Every step felt like a struggle as we pushed through the dense foliage, our mouths parched and our energy waning. The need for water became our singular focus, driving us forward despite the exhaustion. We searched the island for a stream or a spring. The terrain was unforgiving, with thick underbrush and towering trees that blocked out the sun. We split into smaller groups, each taking a different direction in hopes of increasing our chances of finding a water source. The sound of rustling leaves and distant animal calls filled the air as we moved deeper into the jungle. Finally, we found a freshwater spring inland. We cheered with relief. The sight of the clear, cool water was like a mirage come to life. We rushed to the spring, cupping our hands to drink and splashing the refreshing liquid on our faces. It was a moment of pure joy and gratitude, knowing that we had overcome the first major obstacle. We had survived the first hurdle. With our immediate thirst quenched, we took a moment to rest and gather our thoughts. The relief was palpable, and for the first time since our arrival, we felt a glimmer of hope. But we knew that this was just the beginning of our journey. Food was our next priority. We found coconut trees. The tall palms swayed gently in the breeze, their clusters of coconuts promising nourishment. We quickly devised a plan to harvest them using makeshift tools and teamwork to reach the high-hanging fruits. We learned to crack open the hard shells. It took some trial and error, but soon we were able to access the sweet water and tender flesh inside. Each successful crack was a small victory, boosting our morale and providing much-needed energy. The coconut water and flesh provided sustenance. It wasn't just about survival, it was about finding moments of enjoyment in our new reality. The taste of fresh coconut was a reminder of the island's potential to sustain us. We also foraged for berries and edible plants. The island was rich with vegetation, and we carefully identified which plants were safe to eat. It was a delicate balance of exploration and caution as we expanded our diet beyond coconuts. We had to be careful. Some plants were poisonous. Our survival depended on our ability to distinguish between the edible and the dangerous. With each new discovery, we grew more confident in our ability to thrive in this tropical paradise. Section 4, working together. We needed shelter. The nights were cold. We worked together, using debris from the plane wreckage. We built a camp. It wasn't much, but it offered protection from the elements. Each day brought new challenges. We faced storms. We encountered dangerous animals, but we learned to adapt. Section 5, Never Giving Up. This is a story of resilience, determination, and the unyielding human spirit. One day we saw it. After days of scanning the endless ocean, our eyes caught sight of something unusual, a ship on the horizon. We screamed and shouted with all our might, our voices echoing across the waves. We lit a huge signal fire, our last hope to catch their attention. The flames roared high, and the ship saw us. We were rescued. We had survived weeks on that deserted island, battling the elements and our own fears. We had faced our fears head-on, navigating through dense jungles and treacherous terrains. We had learned to work together, building shelters from scratch and crafting makeshift rafts to explore our surroundings. Most importantly, we had never given up hope. This experience changed us profoundly, teaching us the value of perseverance. We learned that the human spirit is incredibly resilient, capable of overcoming the most daunting challenges. We learned that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. The sunrise over the ocean reminded us that every new day brings new possibilities.